Hello, everyone. I hope all of you are well, and I'm really pleased to connect with you this evening. The first thing I want to preface with is please don't worry about me. I'm not sick. I went for a swim today and I have markings of the goggles. So, but I still wanted to pop in, and because I've been getting a lot of DMs on Instagram about people are apparently moving from New Age, spirituality, esoterics, over to Christianity. And they wanted to know my thoughts on that. So I wanted to briefly discuss what my thoughts on it are. So I did ask the 9, hey guys, give me something, because I don't really follow the news. I'm very to myself, and I respect whatever it is that brings people joy, whatever floats their boat or tickles their fancy. They said something really good. They said that we want to encourage every single person on the planet to follow what brings them the most bliss. Because, and I thought this was a great download, because when they follow that excitement, whether it be with love or new beliefs or jumping into different paradigms or whatever the case might be, because there's an excitement there, there's like an engine, more information is going to get sent back to source. Whereas if someone's not really doing anything that's really harmonizing with them, it doesn't really hold a high emotional charge, which translates into frequency, right? So they were saying, just encourage people to do what they want, because if they're following that state of bliss, more information is going to ping back to source. And then source is going to take that information and disperse it out to the collective again. So we're constantly adding on and adding on and adding on. And then I asked them if they had an example that pertained to me. And they said, yeah, remember that friend that you had that opened up his relationship? I have a friend who's in an open relationship, and I felt a certain way about it. I'm not going to lie. You know, I'm still having a subjective experience, but it doesn't mean I judge it. I just can read energy sometimes. And I felt like my friend was in alignment because he's always loved the idea of an open relationship, and that feels genuine, but his partner didn't, all right? When they met, the partner was completely against open relationships. And I myself wouldn't be in one, but I understand why some people might gravitate to that. I get it. So when they opened up the relationship, I was like, oh, I feel like the partner took the bait. That's just how I felt, and that's what was shown to me. And obviously I can't really interject because it's not my place to do so, but there can be different things that drive people into agreeing to being in an open relationship or anything that are external forces, if you will, or entities that want you to be influenced into something. So when I heard that, I was like, oh, it's unfortunate, because I feel like that wasn't really in alignment with the partner's truth, and then he eventually did it. Now, he could have had a change of heart. I tend to keep my relationships closed because I understand how energy works and how you can invite a lot into that. However, I will say this. I will say that I believe that some people have a natural inclination to that, because life would be really boring if we all believed in the same things, okay? And I got a download once about polyamory, people who are in open marriages and they're married to each other. And I got that from a spiritual standpoint, people who are genuinely in that because that's what their soul is calling them to do. We should never frown upon it, because they might be clearing more of the jealousy imprints at a faster rate than all of us. So they're doing a service to humanity. So for instance, if you're living with 2 wives, those wives might get jealous of each other, and or not. You know, I don't want to make a blanket statement. I don't want to put people in a box. I'm just saying there could be a potential that 2 wives would be jealous of each other. And by learning how to love each other, they would be clearing collective imprints that are relative to jealousy, which is why we should never judge anything, because we judge what we don't understand. And what we don't understand is that we judge because there's still something within us that needs to be cleared or addressed. So going back to the download I received from the 9, is they said, if someone chooses to move into Christianity after being in New Age, that's completely fine, because maybe they had some sort of an epiphany that they prefer to be closely linked or connected to Jesus or whatever, and that's fine. Now, here's where it gets interesting though. If you see that someone who's migrated from New Age to spirituality is still talking about New Age, that might be an issue. That means that they're still polarizing. They're still polarizing. And what the Nine are always teaching me is neutrality. So, okay, the example that's coming to me now, if you move to a place like New York and you ended up having a horrific experience and you wanted to move back to LA, however, you learned great lessons while you were in New York. You got to know who you were, what your preferences were, and so forth and so forth. And I'm just using this as an example. New York is a wonderful city, okay? That's actually where I have the most followers. So shout out to New York. If, let's say, you went to New York and you didn't have the best experience, but you lived there for a year and you got what you needed from it, which was the knowing that you don't belong there. You might have met really interesting people along the way. And then you decide, okay, I don't think I belong here, but I'm really grateful to New York for my experience. It's shaped me. I feel enriched. I feel like I know who I am. And then you might move back to LA or San Francisco. How you would talk about the experience would be indicative of how much judgment you hold. So if you go back to LA and you say, you know, I moved to New York for a year. I met really great people. I was lonely, but it taught me how to be grateful for my life. And you walked away with the positive experience, then that's good because you're not polarizing, but you're still being truthful and you're saying, this doesn't mesh with me. You know, this could be for anything. If you move to Australia, move back to Japan, it doesn't matter. If you left New York and you were like, what an awful city, what a horrible place, that would mean that you're still polarizing. I hope that makes sense. Which would indicate that there's still something within you that you haven't really addressed. So you haven't fully integrated a lesson that was given to you in New York, or maybe you're still trying to outrun a deeper issue that you haven't dealt with yet. So if someone moves from New Age to Christianity, I would have zero judgment about that, because if that's where they feel most comfortable, then I encourage it, because if they're more connected to God or to source or whatever their higher power is, whether it's Buddhism or Christianity, if they feel more connected that way, which we all do, right? We have little things that we do to feel connected. I meditate every day. I connect with the wizard energy. I connect with the nine. I connect with my breath. I have my little techniques to feel connected. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just how I link myself up to that power source. We all have our neighborhoods that we like to frequent. Like I go to the same neighborhood every day in LA because I feel at home there. And one might say, hey, why don't you switch it up? Well, I've switched it up. I've been there, done that. I've been in LA 13 years and I found my little pocket that is like my little vortex. And that's where I feel most at home. And I know that about myself. So I don't need to try other things at this point. So if someone went to New Age and they explored and then they had some sort of a conscious realization that they belonged in Christianity, I would be happy for them, because by connecting to God, they're going to get all these downloads, and then those downloads are going to ping back to source, and then God or source is going to send them back out to us. So I think it's always important to encourage people to do what they want. And going back to this example I had about this friend that opened up his relationship, there's a part of me that wanted to say something like, oh, like you know, you're fine, but your boyfriend like wasn't really feeling this. And that's when I got the download. Like, Phil, let people be free, because when they're free, they're going to get more. In other words, even if the boyfriend's going against his truth right now, let's just say that he is, that's going to lead to a bigger awakening in the future, if that makes sense. And that bigger awakening is going to be like an explosion, like fireworks, like, right? Which is going to serve all of us, because there's more of a oomph behind it, right? There's more of a bass. There's more bass behind it. So obviously, when we enroll in these different situations, I would imagine that we do this because there's a stronger pull to do that. It's kind of like when you meet someone and the good outweighs the bad. So you're like, all right, I need to explore this. So we have to honor people who explore whatever it is that they feel called to explore, because through that, there are more karmic lessons that are going to be cleared, more understandings, more epiphanies, and all of this. So I thought that the download from the 9 was really cool, that, hey, you may not agree with what people are doing. By the way, disagreeing doesn't mean that you're judging it. I just want to be really clear. It doesn't mean that you're judging it. Disagreeing is like you might get a download that they're not supposed to be doing that because it's not for their highest good, and you just want to share that with them. It doesn't mean you're judging their experience. I can say to someone, you know, smoking is not good for you, which at that point I would never do because I have nothing against people who smoke, as long as it's a conscious choice and it's not an unconscious choice. People have a right to do what they want, right? So yes, smoking isn't good for you, but it doesn't mean that you're judging it. You know, a lot of people have told me things in my life that I didn't want to hear, but I listened because I knew that the universe speaks to us through people. And if you just shut everyone out, well, what's the point of living? I mean, you're going to be in this cycle of always saying you're projecting, which I feel is a cop-out. We want to listen to the people who love us. But usually the people who love you will back off, which is why I never tell people what I think unless they ask me, or unless I feel like there's an open window. And once in a while, you'll have that open window to share something, and you'll never regret it because you know that it was a divine calling. There's things I've said to people in my past where I felt like they needed to hear it. And to this day, I don't regret it, because I feel like when people aren't listening, the universe is going to get louder, and sometimes it's going to get louder through people like me. And that doesn't mean I'm trying to control or manipulate them. It just means, hey, here's an offering. You could take it or leave it, just like I'm doing with YouTube. These are just perspectives, but I don't expect anyone to take it if it doesn't resonate. You know, it's just an offering. But I will say, though, now it's very rare that I will ever share my opinion with someone unless they ask me. Just because some people aren't ready for that. Some people don't want to hear it. And I've learned, like, just back off. I don't need to get involved and add to my karma or add to, or fan the flames, if you will. There's no need. Like, if I'm not asked to give advice, I'm not going to give that unsolicited advice. That's just, it's that clear. It's that simple for me. So anyways, if someone moves out of a city like New York and then they're criticizing New York, then I would say that they're still polarizing. So you can always tell if someone is still fragmented if they leave New Age and then they bash New Age, right? Because if you have peace, if you've learned, if you maybe decided it wasn't for you and you have that inner knowing now, then I would only have positive things to say. And positive things doesn't imply I'm going to say I love New York. It might just be that New York taught me a great lesson. And even though it wasn't for me, I'm grateful for that experience because I took this and I took that and I took this from it. All right? It's kind of like if you have a falling out with a friend, you'll always be grateful to that friend for what you learned and what you took from it. So there's a certain respect. It's like an unspoken respect that you give to that person. Because if it wasn't for them, I'm sure there would have been another opportunity to shape your life or to shape your character. But, you know, nothing is coincidental in life. It wasn't coincidental that the person fell in New Age and then decided back to Christianity. The other thing I wanted to share with you guys is, of course, there are going to be people in life who shake things up a little bit. I mean, how boring would life be if you didn't have that one person in recovery or in AA? I don't know if you guys, I have a lot of friends in AA, but how boring would life be if everyone was always in AA? You have to have that one or two people, the people who are divergent, who are like, hey, I've had an awakening. I'm not an alcoholic. I'm healed, right? Because that would test everyone who's in recovery. Would they then judge that person? Would they bash that person? Would they point a finger and say, they're lying to themselves, right? But I believe that a lot of us are meant to shake things up like that. It wouldn't be fun if everyone was predictable. It would be a very boring reality. So I'm of the belief that even in AA, there are people who have transcended their addiction and are no longer alcoholics or drug addicts. I believe that. So everything becomes like a cult, if you will, or a group or a paradigm. A paradigm is probably the best word. I don't like the word cult. Everything is a paradigm. So obviously, if you join a group like AA, there are steps. I've never been in AA, but I know there are 12 steps, and then you get acquainted with everyone, and then you have an affinity with everyone, and they become like your family. Of course, it would threaten everyone if you leave it. So most people might say, I'm going to stay here, right? Because I don't want to stir up the pot. I don't want to be a pot stir. But the truth is, there's probably one or two people that have transcended it. And neither are good or worse. It's not a case of a better case scenario or worse case scenario or a better, I'm better than you. It's not about that. It's about living your truth. And your truth isn't always going to appease people. So if someone decides, I'm going to migrate over to Christianity, it's important for the New Age community to not bash them. And equally so, it's important that the person who left New Age doesn't bash New Age. Because if they're doing that, it's still the tit for tat. It's still, this is superior. And in a higher dimensional framework, there is no, I'm better than you, or you're less than me, or there are demons in New Age. Demons are everywhere. It's not about that. It's about, are you still judging the people around you? That's the main thing. Are you still judging people around you? And it doesn't really matter if you're a Christian. It doesn't matter if you're a Buddhist, if you're a New Age, if you're a Wiccan. It doesn't really matter. At the end of the day is, do you have integrity? Are you protecting everyone as an aspect of yourself? Is everyone your brother and sister? Because where I come from, we're all the same. God doesn't have a religion. So, and yet God can have a religion, because my form of a religion is meditation every day. But we have to remember the church is inside. The church is inside. So if someone decides to move to Christianity from New Age, you can tell, you'll always be able to tell if they're still operating within duality, heaven and hell, right or wrong, evil, angelic, man, woman. You'll be able to tell based on the energy that they give off when they're talking about it. Also, when we complete a lesson, the story generally will collapse. So if you see anyone who has a Christian channel now and who's migrated and they're using New Age, that's a form of fueling your tank. You don't need to fuel your tank or ride someone else's coattail when you've completed a lesson. All right, I hope that makes sense. You don't need to use that to fuel this. We don't do that. That to me, that's like low vibrational, and that can be for New Age or Christianity. If you're bashing Christians, then, you know, you get the idea, right? At the end of the day, when you're connected from within, you can share that stream of consciousness that's coming from above or from within, however you choose to perceive it. It's all good. It's from within and it's from above. It's just a different presentation. But it's a clean stream of consciousness. You don't need that fuel. Oh, she did this to me, and can you believe that? You don't need that to strike up conversation. That's why your life becomes very peaceful. Very peaceful. But yeah, someone asked me and I wanted to respond to that question because I think it's important to understand that we're all the same. We're all spirits within this physical human suit that we're inhabiting temporarily. And yes, we will gravitate to things that resonate with us, whether that be New Age or Wicca or Christianity. And the idea is to stay in your lane, right? And if you don't stay in your lane, then make sure that you present information in a way that isn't biased. meaning you don't have opinions. If you still have opinions about things where you're having to frown upon what someone else is doing, then you may want to check that, because you may want to check that. Look, we can agree or disagree as long as there isn't like a negative charge of I'm judging you. So going back to the example, would I personally ever be in an open relationship? No, because I think there's a sacredness to a union. And I think that what I've been shown for myself, not for others, is that if I, Phil, who has a very unique genetic makeup, am in an open relationship, my expansion may happen horizontally, but it's gonna be stumped vertically. But when I'm in a container with someone, and then we might trigger each other and have our issues, we're gonna ascend together by dealing with those issues, by bringing resolution to those issues. It doesn't mean you can't expand. It doesn't mean I wouldn't expand if I was in an open relationship. I would still have experiences. I could meet someone else, and then see how my partner deals with it, blah, blah, blah. You get the idea, but to me, it would be more of a width, not height. That's just how I see it for myself. But that doesn't suggest that it may not work for someone else. Someone else might be able to be in an open relationship and ascend vertically. I wouldn't be able to. Just like I don't have tattoos. I'm not meant to have tattoos. Does it mean I judge them? No. I think tattoos are very attractive. My friend Rex has a sleeve, and I think that's very attractive. It's just not for me. That's not a judgment. I'm not judging tattoos. It's just not my personal preference. So it's okay to have preferences, and it's not okay to impose our ways on other people, to convert other people, to use New Age as a way to fuel your newfound Christian followers, or vice versa, to use Christianity to fuel your New Age followers. That's not okay. That's duality. How much maturity does someone have when they're speaking? That's when you can tell. That's when you can tell. When they're not siding. They're not like, ooh, this is better than that. Does that make sense? So that's the message I had for you guys tonight, and I hope it resonated. I thank all of you for being on this journey with me. Thanks to everyone who attended the live. I plan on doing more lives as well. Thank you to everyone who attended the premiere tonight, and for your donations. I appreciated it very much. And I'm sending you so much love. And if you're coming from Instagram, just know that I'm going to be doing more YouTube lives, so you may want to subscribe, not to miss out on the fun. All right, I love you guys so much, and I'll speak to you in another version of the Now.